What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Homegrown career mode. This is episode number 22, and I'll start today's episode off by saying happy Halloween to everyone celebrating tonight. If you're out trick-or-treating, then be safe. If you're out at any parties, then, be sensible and don't eat all the sweets in one go. And hopefully today we'll have more treats than tricks in today's Halloween episode. And we start today's episode off by setting up the training, and as you can see, Cedric, our new goalkeeper at the academy, is going to get a lot of the training this year because, as you'll also see at the start of today's episode off, we give him the number 1 jersey because we know he's got the potential to be special, and this is going to be the guy that will be our number 1 for many years for Southampton. We've kept Angus Gunn for this year along with Nathan Redmond as our 2 homegrown trained in the nation players. However, despite Cedric being 7 ratings lower than Angus Gunn, he's 6 years younger, he's 4 inches shorter, but I believe this guy is the future of Southampton between the sticks. We know the potential special he's got at 91 plus. And we know as well how quick it is to train goalkeepers in career mode as well. So Cedric becomes our number 1, and he'll be starting in goal in our first Premier League game, which you'll see in today's episode. But after all the sales we made in the last episode, the season opener, we now have over £100 million in the bank to play with. And of course, right now there's only 3 players on our shortlist: Gareth Bale, the headline guy, Calum Chambers, and Jason McCarthy. And of course, as we discussed in the season opener yesterday, we can't sign McCarthy as the chairboys won't let him go. He's too important to the club, and the only player realistically we can sign is Calum Chambers and perhaps Gareth Bale if we're lucky as well. So we went in for Chambers, of course, product of Southampton Academy. He's valued at £6.5 million. We offered that, and Unai Emery said no, that's not a good enough deal. However, give us an extra 300 grand and you can take him. And £6.8 million to bring Chambers back to St Mary's, that's a really good deal. Of course, this year he's out on loan at Craven Cottage playing for Fulham, and we start our new career mode with Fulham in a couple of weeks' time. We're using, I'm sure, in the first season, and he spent the year before last on loan at Middlesbrough at the Riverside Stadium as well. And Chambers is a really interesting player because of course he started his career at Southampton and he was primarily used, if not solely used, as a right back. But when he came to the Emirates Stadium, Arsene Wenger transformed his game and made him into a centre back, and at 6 foot he's tall enough to do that role. He's very comfortable on the ball, which is what drew Arsene Wenger to him, and with the way Arsenal like to play, that's obviously extremely handy. And of course, as we know, the modern day fullback in today's game is essentially a wing back. There was a time and a place for the likes of Tony Hibbert, a defence-minded fullback. It's not 2018. Now there was a time and a place for Tony Hibbert. Nowadays, the fullback has to be quick. The fullback has to offer something when going forward. Fullbacks are essentially wing backs in today's game, and that's why I can understand why Chambers was moved into play centre back for Arsenal. But I personally believe he was better playing in the right back role. Now I know a lot of Arsenal fans disagree with me there. That's totally fine, but that's always been my opinion. I thought Chambers was better as a right back, and he does indeed sign for £6.8 million. He took a pay cut to join Southampton, now on 35 grand a week. He was on 53 grand a week at Arsenal, and in the next episode we'll be discussing the contract negotiations and transfer negotiations and the revamp it's had in the past 2 years. But to take that much of a pay cut, is it 18 grand a week, and signing on a 4-year deal for a lesser reputation team, quite a surprise, but we're pleased to have him regardless. With £6.8 million, see his stats there, like I discussed, very comfortable on the ball, 74 ball control, very decent. Of course, we know we like our ball playing centre backs, of course, so Chambers comes in. Whether he'll play right back or centre back in his team is what we'll debate throughout the course of the season. I'd imagine he'll spend time playing both of those positions this season. He'll go on the bench to begin with and not into the first 11. Cook will stay out there along with Morgan Schneiderlin. What we could do is play him at right back and push Oxlade-Chamberlain up to right midfield, move Ward-Prowse into the centre, as he's not the quickest but technically very good, and put Collins on the bench. But I think for the time being we'll leave Chambers on the bench and keep the 4-4-2 we've got out there, because I think defensively this season will be pretty solid, and I reckon Chambers, just to provide cover in the first season, is the best thing to do. And then when Schneiderlin starts to decline in his rating, then we'll start to put Chambers in the first level on a regular basis. However, Nathan Redmond, interestingly enough here, was approached by Hoffenheim. They met his release clause of £14.8 million, and Redmond had a decision to make. Would he stay at Southampton or go to Germany? And in the end, as you can see, we delegated a new contract renewal, and he signed a new 4-year contract to stay at Southampton. Of course, that's kind of meaningless because, of course, this year is his last year with Southampton guaranteed, as next year onwards we won't be able to use anyone that didn't come out of Southampton Academy. But I didn't want to lose Redmond for £14.8 million because last season Redmond was one of our very best players, if not our best player. So Redmond stays, and again, I delegated a renewal there. Some of you guys, I do read the comments, some of you guys do say, why don't you delegate accelerate the contract negotiations as opposed to doing it yourself, because that way you don't have to pay a sign-on fee, and the bonuses as well don't get put in the contract. The reason why I do the contract negotiations myself for the most part is just because it was a new feature, a headline new feature last year, and I quite like to do it as well. It's sort of nice to do it yourself as opposed to leaving it to your chief exec, and that's why I do it myself. Yes, of course, I know you have to pay a little bit more money through the bonuses, but it's just nice to do it yourself, and it's nice to have the little cutscenes as well. But yeah, Chambers in, Redmond stays, and it was interesting because I don't think I've had a release clause paid. Obviously, release clauses came into the game last year. I don't think I've had a release clause paid by a club before, and I've had to give a contract. So I think that was the first time I had to do that, but we did it quickly. And yeah, Redmond stays, Chambers in, and also as we entered August, we can see we had an academy update here for our youth team. We released one player that wasn't looking too good in terms of his potential, but right now our hottest prospect in the academy is Stefan Roach, and you see the clerk, he's just hit 60 in our first team, so we can check his potential. Exciting prospect, very good to see, nice little central midfielder there, Belgian, looks pretty comfortable on the ball, medium-low work rate. With Stefan Roach in our academy, or Rocher, perhaps, Ferreira Rocher, I don't know, but Stefan looks really good, but his overall is terrible. His potential should give him potential to be special, but he's what, 50 overall, so he's got a long way to go before he reaches that. But regardless, he did some more training there for Cedric, who of course this season will be our number one, and we took a look at our budget as well. We still have a lot of money remaining. We can still make it to £100 million, so Gareth Bale is still a possible signing. Now, he's valued at £46.5 million. We know we'll have to pay more than that. His release clause is £108.6 million at the Bernabeu, and I'd love to bring Gareth Bale back in Season 2. We have, I would say, just about enough money, and I guess we'll have to wait and see. We're going for him in tomorrow's episode regardless, but I was saying at the start of the series that Season 3 was probably realistically when we get Gareth Bale. If we can get him a season beforehand in Season 2, that'll be absolutely fantastic. But still, we had a couple of loan bids there for Pascal and Rio. We accepted those, but as you can see, a couple of those got rejected by the player. I've found this year it's extremely hard to loan out your youth players. It was pretty difficult last year, but this year it's almost impossible. And hopefully at the third time of asking, it will indeed leave on loan, because we've got no plans to use them this season. And for the first game of today's episode, and the only game of today's episode, was the first game of the Premier League season, as we would take on newly promoted Aston Villa, a former career mode team of ours on this channel, as they will come and take us on at St Mary's in the season opener. And of course, this time last season in the season opener, we were also at home. We drew 1-1 against Burnley, so take on Aston Villa, I was hoping we would get off to winning ways here against the newly promoted side, because we ended the season off really strong last season despite losing the FA Cup final. And of course, this year our aim is to qualify for the Europa League in the league positions, and we want to get off to a winning start to lay down our intentions early. First chance fell to us just 90 minutes in. Nathan Redmond cutting in from the left-hand side here and going for goal. The shot ricocheted off the turf and trickled behind for a corner. It was Nyland, Millwall legend, watched that sail harmlessly wide the post. It was still 0-0. And our second chance fell just before the break here, on the break, with Theo Walker sent down the right-hand side. Took it around James Chester a couple of times here, beat him all ends up, whipped into the centre. Ward-Prowse won it in the air, but his header hit the post, and Aston Villa cleared it away with Hourihain gotten on the ball. So still goalless heading to the break. Not that many chances created. We were knocking the ball around quite nicely. The build-up play was pretty decent, but just like in the FA Cup final, the finishing touch just wasn't there. We stayed positive entering the second half though, and our first chance fell pretty much directly from kickoff as Luke Shaw found Redmond down the left-hand side here, looking like our best player in this game. Took it around McGinn there, using his pace, cut inside from the left, and so many times last season Redmond was deadly from that situation, but this time hit it into the side netting and behind for a goal here. I tried to finesse it across Nyland's body, but instead went towards the near post there as it was still goalless. 63 minutes in, Redmond took it around Hourihain, and again looked like our best player in this game, played it across to Ward-Prowse, fed it into Adam Lallana. His first time strike however went sailing over the crossbar as it was still goalless, and again the passing was neat and tidy. It was good, we were creating chances, but the finishing just was really, really poor, and our best chance fell with 4 minutes to go. Sam Gallagher on the ball, played it through to Redmond, down left hand side. Tommy Elphick came across to give it back to Gallagher, who flicked it into Ward-Prowse. He found Theo Walcott. and he was denied by Nyland. The Norwegian packed it away, and Aston Villa escaped. Walcott last season scored so many goals since coming in January. Sadly, could not get off the mark this season on the season opener. Straight to keeper, still 0-0, and that was how the game finished. So we played alright. You see by the stats here, 6 shots but only 1 on target. Definitely lacked the finishing touch in this game, despite playing really well for the most part. We defended superbly though. Villa got no chance whatsoever. Cook was fantastic, but sadly a goalless draw to start off with. Not the ideal beginning against a newly promoted side at home. Should have been a win, but didn't take our chances. But that will end today's episode of the Homegrown Career Mode, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic evening tonight. Happy Halloween. Much love, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.